So over the past year, all the work that was essentially going on behind the scenes of the municipality of Munich finally came to fruition with the help of lots of other people in the city of Munich. Approximately more than a year ago, in summer 2023, we brought together different inner city organizations who represent stakeholders, citizens, but also different sectors to select and identify courtyards which we could redesign and regreen over the next 1 to 2 years. And we chose a schoolyard on the one hand, but also a courtyard of a cultural center, which is also a residential center for refugees. And both are comparatively small for the amount of users of the space, but also the many functions that these spaces need to fulfill. And then in autumn 2023, we brought together the actual users of those spaces in different workshops where they, on the one hand, shared their needs, but they also sketched out their ideas, possible solutions, possible nature-based solutions for the spaces. And then in summer 2024, we managed to implement the interventions and also open them together with the users, with visitors on the one hand of the cultural center, but also with the many pupils from ages 6 all the way through to 19 years old in the schoolyard. And sort of seeing all of these changes on the ground and throughout the year really was very impactful, and everyone, because sometimes things take a long time in a city, saw that something could happen on the ground and we could sort of really design it together, implement it together, and then celebrate it together.
So the users voiced their needs, also such as space to hide, as well as to retreat, as well as to sit, stay and linger. More nature as well as more greenery were common for both courtyards. And the pupils in the schools, they wanted to have more and better spaces to learn. So that's why we integrated this green classroom. And the residents as well as the volunteers of the Bellevue di Monaco asked for quality of the space to be improved and to be multifunctional. So the courtyard of Bellevue di Monaco offers a broad spectrum of users as well as stakeholder groups, and it was for us quite challenging to achieve all the people who are using the space. So, for example, important groups like refugees as well as the residents of the Bellevue Cultural and Living Center. So we should find better channels to achieve and also better involve all of them, as well as to think about options to ease as well as to facilitate the language barriers. On the other hand, there is another point also, the definition of the common goals, of the common understanding of the project, as well as the target groups we would like to achieve with each workshop and with each event we are doing is really crucial to be clearly settled with the owners as well as with the managers of the courtyard. This is crucial to leverage the success factors of such temporary interventions. These points are something we want to implement now in the upcoming actions in the Bellevue di Monaco.
We often noticed that when presenting a design idea to those who are responsible for managing or running the courtyards, that the kids' ideas or the refugees' residents' ideas were disregarded. That wasn't really always on purpose. Mostly it's actually was due to the space limitations or regulations, which made it sort of easier to disregard those design suggestions. But it shows that essentially the lacking power of vulnerable groups such as kids, such as refugees, who also don't have an official role, that they then don't have the power to really suggest something and be taken seriously. And we need to essentially keep an eye on this throughout the entire process. On the other hand, we were also not able to involve the pupils and the users of the courtyards in the actual design process, in the actual interventions and in the implementation. And particularly with regards to the implementation that was due to insurance and liability issues. And that's, we would say, a pity, because the act of building helps increase the ownership, but of course it also helps build skills. One more challenge would be that temporary nature-based interventions or interventions in public spaces are not done on a regular basis. And by temporary, we mean the redesign or the change of a space or types of spaces for a certain predetermined time to sort of test if the design works or if it needs alterations. And as they're essentially not business as usual, there are also no predefined processes within the municipality in place. So this prolongs all planning and implementation processes quite considerably. But the good thing is that once we can sort of show the result and we can show it in a fairly short way, we can change a space in a fairly short time, we can also inspire others for more temporary actions, and then it can also inform long-term redesign processes.
So in the schoolyard, we built a wooden structure as a green sitting area, which is movable, reusable, and modular. It could be placed in another schoolyard. This makes it possible to quickly change a space and see what design works and what not. So temporary solutions make it possible to try out ideas and interventions. Once implemented, they can be seen, they change a space and can also be considered as solutions. Temporary interventions can be a means to pave the way or shape a more long-term redesign of the space. They offer lots of opportunities to learn how the planning processes can be improved, how the interventions are used, or how they might need to be changed. The city-making approach, particularly in these times of tight municipal budgets, is one to be used more.